My name is Kelly Boateng and I'm from Australia and I've been living here in Ghana now for almost 3 years.
My name is Kelvin Boateng and I was born originally in Ghana. Went to Australia when I was about 10 years old and we've now been back in Ghana now for about 3.5 years or so.
So we met in a less than glamorous nightclub in Sydney. It was meant to be a girls' night out for me and just to have fun with the girls, and I did not expect at all to be meeting my future husband that night. Just remember dancing with my friends and all of a sudden someone coming up from behind like dancing with me.
I definitely remember noticing her as soon as I walked into the room. And it was one of those things, you know, when you see somebody, you think, oh, okay, you notice them, but they're in a crowd, but you just notice them for some reason. We danced for a bit and we thought, okay, let's go and have a chat. So we actually went outside and we were talking. And that's when I knew, okay, I do really like this girl.
And then when it came time to exchange phone numbers, he didn't have a phone. He just lost his phone.
Well, let me explain, because the previous day, a friend of mine said we should go to the beach. So I thought, okay, I've got no money, let's go to the beach. And I had my phone in my pocket and I forgot and I jumped into the water.
Our first date was also pretty interesting because this guy turns up to my house in his car, which completely breaks down at my house.
Yes.
So he's supposed to be there. First of all, he was like 2 hours late. And then because his car breaks down, so I'm like, okay, that's fine, let's go in my car.
You know, I was really nervous on the way, especially because my car was starting to die and I knew the car had a bit of a problem. So when I got there and I knew the car had just broken down, it was just the worst feeling, thinking, oh no, it's going to ruin the date. And then I told her, she said, oh, let's just go in mine. So, you know, that kind of broke the ice. It was nice and easy. She didn't make a big deal out of it. So I guess that made me think, okay, this is fine. You know, she's cool. I really enjoyed our conversation. I think that's one of the things that I think, you know, really endeared me to Kelly, just our conversation. I actually left my wallet in the car. So
yes, so he couldn't even pay for it.
It was so bad.
Oh my
16 years, it'll be 17 years.
Really?
Next year. The wedding ring, I put the 7 diamonds on there, which was the 7 years that we'd been together before we got married. And our daughter turns 9 this year. And she was born the year we got married. So I always remember. I guess there were 2 things. First of all, I didn't really know how I would integrate into her family. Being Ghanaian and her family being Australian was, and you know, her dad was really, really good. I got along really well with him, but I guess once you get to the point where you're thinking marriage, you think, okay, well, our family's going to have to integrate. I'm going to have to integrate into your family. You're going to have to integrate into mine, and you know how that would go. You know, initially too, when we first met, you know, I think I told my parents I was dating an Australian girl. I think my mum initially was like, oh, Australian girl, oh, okay. It also, that became a bit of a thing of having to introduce her to mum and, you know, hoping it all goes well and, you know, she approves, and luckily she did, so that was good. Those were the 2 things that I was really worried about.
Because I grew up with my dad. He was cool. I knew he was going to be cool. His view was more about how the guy treats me. Like, as long as he treats me well, he would probably want to know a little bit more about, like, well, what does he do for a job? Like, what is his career aspirations? Is he going to be able to take care of my daughter? But yeah, it didn't really take long at all for dad to, like, adopt you as a second son.
I think our family is really integrated well.
Yeah, and I think, like, a big part of Aussie culture is, like, this barbecue, like, come to our house for a barbie, that sort of style. So we had a lot of that. So we always had like family gatherings, I guess, where we all intermingled. Yeah. After we were married, we had family holidays together as well. We went to Hawaii together.
The entire family.
Even my grandmother.
Yeah.
So our family's like, you know, it's like one big family, yeah. So in 2016, we decided to come on a holiday. At that point, we had our two children, our two first daughters. So they were kind of at the age where we thought, okay, we can do that long haul flight. We came with your parents, we stayed with family, and they took us around. I guess it had been a while for you to come back, but for me, it was like, it just blew my mind. Like, it was like, this is my first time in Africa. It was kind of hard because we had the two little ones with us as well. So just travel anywhere with toddlers, it's not easy. But they embraced it so well as well. Like Amali, there was just so much that was novelty and new as well, like seeing giant snails and then my mother-in-law preparing them in soup. And Amali was so excited to try them. Like I was just like, nah, I can't do it. I think kids adapt so easy. Like it was just like seamless. They don't notice the differences that we do, I guess. They just don't, they have a completely different lens that they see through.
I mean, I thought they integrated quite well at the first time.
For me personally, I just loved the feeling here. Like, it just felt like home. And then when we got back to Australia, we started thinking maybe we could relocate. Like maybe we could just do the big move. But you took a bit of convincing.
Not because I didn't want to come back to Ghana, but at the time, I was the head of legal for a biotech company in Australia. It was a bit of a stressful job, but you know, at the time, we obviously had a mortgage and everything, and you know, trying to pay for all that stuff. And
so he's the sensible one. He's like, okay, this is the rational thinking, and I'm just like, let's just go. Let's just jump into it. Let's just take off, you know? What have we got to lose? So I fell pregnant with our son. So then the baby came along, so then we were sort of like, okay, that delayed our plans a little bit. The next major hurdle that we went through was that my dad passed away. That was a big shock to us. Yeah. It was unexpected, a sudden heart issue, and the surgery didn't go to plan, and unfortunately he didn't make it. We were all obviously we were also devastated, but the thing that really hit home for us was my dad. He ran his own business and he was such a workaholic. He was always like, okay, next year I'm gonna travel. His dream was always to go to Scotland to, you know, visit our heritage. He never got to do that. And I was saying to Kelvin, what are we waiting for? Let's just go. Like, this is life and it can be gone just like that. We need to just go and do this. And within a few months, we were packed up and gone.
I lived my Ghanaian culture. So, you know, and I think, you know, Ghanaians, wherever there are enough Ghanaians in any country, we gravitate towards each other and we know each other. You know, you have most of the parents had formed an association of Ghanaians so that they could actually help integrate new Ghanaians who came in. So, you know, we still had parties. We had, you know, we celebrate Independence Day. We had cultural dances. We had, you know, cultural dancing groups. We did barbecues. We did, you know, drumming classes. All these things were done, you know, as part of that small community. They even had Twi classes for those kids who were growing up who didn't understand, who couldn't speak Twi. Before I left, I actually could speak Hausa, I could speak Twi, and I could speak Ghan. Unfortunately, I can't speak Hausa or Ghan anymore. I can still speak Twi though. You know, my parents especially were very proud of being Ghanaians, and you know, they would always say to me, you know, just remember you're Ghanaian, you're not Australian. You know, in this, not in a bad way, but just so that you also understand that.
Don't forget where you came from.
Yeah. I mean, I think the transition from Australia to Ghana for us has been slow, but I think it's also really helped, you know, taking our time and just really adjusting. I think sometimes, you know, people come to Ghana and they want to feel like they've now settled. You know, you're doing the things you used to do. You get the same restaurant, you can eat the same foods, but you know, I think that's how people get that culture shock, because everything's just so different.
Yeah, no, I don't feel like it's been a difficult adjustment, but I made friends straight away. So I think that's really key. You know, you have to build your support network in your family, like your Ghana family, you know. You know, we didn't expect that we're going to get the same, you know, things like the same food, or, you know, being able to access the same products and qualities that we get in Australia. And we've made adjustments to our diet. Like, I'll eat tuazafi, bangkun tilapia.
Yeah, before we came, we used to eat fufu.
But I would never eat okra, because that stuff just looks way slimy. But then since I came here, because it's so much more common, like you see it here, like I would see it at Kelvin's parents' house and I'd be like, what is that? But here I'm like, okay, you see it a lot. Okay, let me try it. So I tried it and I'm like, actually, it's really good. Once you get past the texture, the taste is good, and you know it's really good for you.
The problem with Ghanaian food, we don't make food for the eyes, we just make food for the stomach, which is good.
Driving took a bit of time to get used to. We're already like driving on the other side of the road compared to Australia, but then you've got, it's like playing a video game. You've got to dodge the potholes, you've got to dodge the like crazy gutters.
The goats as well. The goats,
the chotros, like people just pulling out and making up their own road rules. Yeah.
But now you should see her. She's like a proper Ghanaian driver. Ah, what are you doing?
I'm not, it's not true. So we have 3 kids. Amali, who's almost 9, Makeda, who's 7, Kingston, who's almost 4. I feel like it's a much better environment for our kids to grow up in. They just, in Australia, I felt like they were just drifting way too much towards their devices, and every time we'd go to the shops, it's like, Mummy, can I have this? Can I have that? Because they're seeing it on TV all the time. Like, life is a lot more commercial. Here, they're spending a lot more time outside, you know, getting exposed to so much more culture. Even though Australia is very multicultural, but it's almost like we're just this massive blending pot. So it's kind of like, what is the true culture of Australia? Whereas here, like in Ghana, the culture is so rich. Amali, she'll be turning 9 in December. So she started her first year of school in Australia. So she had started school, she was making friends. The adjustment was a bit harder for her. And even if I ask her to this day, she'll still say she prefers to live in Australia. I think that's just, she's a bit older, she has more memories there. Makeda is fine, she loves it here. Yeah. And Kingston, he was a baby when he came, so he's Ghanaian through and through.
He's like, a Ghana boy.
He doesn't even have an Australian accent, he has a Ghanaian accent, and it's hilarious. And then he was just
yeah. Someone cut in front of me, I was like, ah. And then I heard my little boy, he's like, Masa, why? I just died. It's different. You know, life in Australia, I think, was very much about being in the rat race. And, you know, you have to wake up at 6 and get to work by 8:30, and you'd be at work until, you know, 7 in the evening. Then you'd get home by 8, and then you know, it's very regimented. I felt a lot of pressure in Australia, you know, in the sense that, think about your mortgage, think about this, think about light bill, you know, it feels like it's very oppressive. And I guess when we came to Ghana, I feel, even though the same pressures are there, that, you know, you still have to pay a lot more, you know, rent and everything else, but it doesn't feel as claustrophobic. Like, even though you have friends in Australia, you don't really talk about your problems. You're kind of like, you're isolated in your own home environment. Whereas here, I think you have more of, it feels more like a support network, because I think you have to create your own family here. Because I mean, for me too, I don't have any family here. Also, I think just timing wise, going through COVID and just life in general has been different. And then Kelvin's not working in the corporate environments anymore. He's working in our business together. So that is different too. He's home a lot more. It's really changed the way that we are together. Pros and cons, I guess, for both sides. And I think being more present, having more of a home life, I really, really love that. you know, I feel like I spend more time with Kelly and the kids, whereas before, you know, at times, I think there were times back in Australia when I'd only see the kids on the weekends only, because by the time I leave home, they're still asleep. By the time I get home, they're asleep. Or if I see them in the morning, I see them maybe for about half an hour when they wake up, and then I've got to go. More of a, we do more things as a family now, which is good.
As we mentioned, we came in 2016, and during that time, like as tourists, I guess, like you go to a lot of the craft centers and everything, and we just felt like, okay, we want to showcase this, like we want to bring this back to Australia, and Australians don't know a lot about Africa, so we want to also help bring a part of Africa back to Australia and educate them on the beauty of Africa, of Ghana especially. And that's sort of how it all began. So we took about 10 baby Moses baskets back with us, and we sold them really fast. So we thought, okay, there's demands there. And so we just started bringing in baskets, and that's just how we started. We started importing the baskets into Australia and just kind of evolved from there.
The general population about the beauty of what's actually made here. You know, I think as Ghanaians, that's something that we sometimes don't appreciate. What we make, we look at it as though it's just not good enough, or it's not worth what's been made in China. Meanwhile, the Chinese are now copying these baskets because they can see that it's quality and people appreciate them.
And they're also calling them Bulga baskets as well.
You know, you call it a Bulga basket, which means you're referring to it as being a basket from Bolgatanga. Meanwhile, it's not. These baskets are traditional pieces. You know, they're integral to our own heritage, and to just allow another country to just make it.
But we decided, like, we don't just want to work with the artisans, we also want to give back to the communities that we work with as well. So we've started a few different initiatives to do that.
So one of them is the AYI Centre in Teshi, which is a youth centre.
One of our good friends, Bishop, who actually lives in Australia, but he grew up in Teshi. So he's the one who founded the youth centre, and then when he found out that we were moving to Ghana, and then we just got talking about it, and we thought, okay, yeah, we can help manage the centre because he's not here. And then just trying to figure out ways, different ways that we can get funding for the centre, because it's all voluntary run, it's all self-funded. So we decided to produce a particular product that we could sell, and that the profits from this product go to the youth centre, and that is our dolls, which we call the Ya Santiwa doll. That doll in particular is actually manufactured outside, so we decided to start our own toy range as well that's 100% made in Ghana. Like, the basket weaver doesn't really end up getting paid all that much. It's the person who is reselling the basket, the middleman, who is making the profits. So what the centre does is actually give the basket weavers an opportunity to come down and weave directly for us. They don't have to deal with any middlemen, and they get paid the full price.
What we're trying to also do is to educate them on the market itself, and, you know, what items are popular, what items sell better and faster. Us working together like this, we really have become like a team, and, you know, they really understand how together the whole business isn't just us or just the product, but it's, you know, all of us. You know, without them, we don't have a business. You know, bringing together our business sense and also their artisanal skills, I think together is what's making the business, you know, grow the way it has. You know, I think that's been very important.